I left my job in June to be a full-time freelance artist. I left a regular paycheck, easy access to health insurance, and structure in my day to make videos and draw and paint. Going from drawing and painting in my free hours after work and on weekends to relying solely on my creativity to make a living is somewhat of a paradigm shift. Something I anticipated but I'm still figuring out is the amount of pressure that it puts on your creativity to go full-time. Sitting down to create and having to think about how what you make will appeal to people who might want to spend money on it is exhausting and robs the process of joy and the authenticity that creation calls for. I've definitely been feeling that frustration. As much as I try to put it out of my mind and create simply for the sake of creating, it's easier said than done. Sometimes the pressure is so high before I even put pencil to paper that it stops me from creating anything at all. I've spent many days avoiding my desk because I don't want to face the possibility of making something that's not worthwhile. But in these months of creating full-time, I have found some things that help me to shake that feeling and that help spur my creativity. And someone somewhere may find these useful too, so I want to share them with you. Once when I was feeling particularly stumped, David relayed this quote to me, which I think he might have made up because I can't find it anywhere on the internet. But he said, "Inspiration follows perspiration. You have to start by putting in the work and the ideas will follow." Sometimes that means I sit in my studio and play with whatever materials are near me. Or it might mean sitting at my computer and stringing together a series of video clips around a vague idea until something clicks. I try to remind myself that you only get better when you put in the hours. So even if I create and create and create and nothing clicks, that time isn't wasted. I'm practicing my art, my skill. I've also found comfort in accepting that creativity relies on a balance of input and output. Sometimes I get so caught up in increasing my output as a creator that I forget about the input. And a friend gave me a helpful tip. She said to seek input within your craft, but also outside of it. So for me, that means looking at art and watching videos, but also reading novels and moving my body to music. Reading poetry out loud to myself. You must be made of honey. Your parents must have grown on trees. Listening to podcasts and hearing quotations that move me. I've found that the intake of art and information begets more art. It sounds obvious, but sometimes I forget. Something I'm still working on is my relationship with social media. Social media is a double-edged sword. I find so much inspiration from the artists I follow on Instagram. That's part of my creative input for sure. But I can also fall into this trap of comparing myself to the people I see on my feed. Comparing my ideas, my skill, my consistency, and that makes me feel inadequate and sort of paralyzes me, and that's really not helpful. Everybody started somewhere, and you'll never get to where you want to be if you don't start too. So I'm still figuring out how to cut myself off when I notice those feelings. But ultimately, I think creativity is a spiritual quality. We are creative by nature, and if we learn how to tap into our creativity, we may be less afraid of it, because it doesn't fully come from us, but through us. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. It's all super helpful for me.